Hello, hello. Welcome to Parkland Media. I am your host, Spade Parkland. Thank you for clicking on the video. According to my analytics, a lot of people who watch my content have not subscribed to the channel. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any notifications. Hit the notification bell and make sure it's set to all. Thanks for watching, and now enjoy the video.
No, I have done fucking around. You pick, look at me. You don't get to pick and choose what you tell us. Everything you know, everything you've seen, it all matters. Because that may be how we go home. Don't you want that? Huh? Wouldn't you like to go home? This is my home.
It's showtime.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, subscribe, thumb up the video, share everywhere, comment, join the channel membership, hype me up, super chat, do all those amazing things. So I appreciate all the support, and I'm doing somewhat of a part two to a previous video about Eloise drawings in Christopher's trunk.
Breaking news.
Welcome. If you're returning, welcome home. This is a theory video for the show from. You'll hear me rambling, showing video, doing all that. I know we got some new people who are kind of like, who's this guy and why does he just ramble? That's what I do here. Okay, so this video was inspired by Nicole Lane 8553. She made a really good comment, and it's a follow-up to the video I made about a theory that Miranda and Christopher came into Fromville together.
Oh, wow.
She commented, Victor said in season 2, episode 8 to Tabitha around the 30-minute mark that he put the drawings in Christopher's car so that he would never have to look at them and never have to remember. But I think he thought they were his pictures. He did. And when he saw them, he remembered they were his sisters, Eloise, and remembered he even had a sister, which is correct. And so I responded and I said, questions I'll answer are the following. Where is Miranda's car, or did she arrive in one? Why put drawings in Christopher's vehicle and not your mom's? Did your mom say hide where Christopher can't find you, but using Christopher's trunk is okay or cool? When did Eloise draw the pictures, before Fromville or while in? Can we trust Victor's memory and timeline with Eloise's pictures, and more? I commented I'd like to hear her thoughts on these. She made another comment. What if Eloise was like Sarah, hearing voices and made to draw pictures? I responded, that would add a parallel from Sarah being told about 2 cars coming into town at once and Eloise before her. Then we would ponder on the idea of Eloise being told to do something, or someone would die like Nathan. Maybe if Eloise didn't do X, then Miranda would die, and she did. Really good comment. I really appreciate it. And so before getting into watching some of the actual episode that Nicole is referencing, there's another comment that I think is really, really great. Amanda had posted this and she said, this is such a great video. I appreciate it. Monsters are zombies. Humans can be way more frightening. Exactly. Maybe Eloise got stuck somehow when she was story walking. Good catch on seeing which car they find Eloise's drawings in. I missed that one. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the inspiration to do the previous video. Miranda and Christopher came into town together. That theory video. Maybe Christopher had visions of the bottle tree and then he sees the replica tree that Miranda had made in the park at home. And that is how they met. Wow. Then later, Miranda wanted to take Christopher to see all of her paintings, but they ended up at the tree instead, which is going into Fromville, the tree in the road. Originally, when Victor said that Christopher had changed, I initially thought he had gone on some kind of spree and that he had possibly attacked the townspeople. Not sure what to think now. And that's my theory of everybody going through the tree, the information that Miranda may have given them to go save the children. Maybe all of them wanted to go save the children. They went through the same tree to go to the lighthouse, but they fell from the sky in the town and were maimed, and that's how the creatures got them. I came up with that because season 1, when Victor is demonstrating to Ethan and us, the audience, how the faraway tree works, he put the rock in the tree and it fell from the sky. Wasn't it Miranda who made the map that was hanging in the peach truck? I think it is her that made that map of town. And I think Victor took it over afterwards. The art department did a great job on the lighthouse. The other sets, yes, they did. So really great comment, really great comment. So first I'm going to show you the clip Nicole was referencing, and then we'll get into some dialogue. Gotcha. First, we're going to do donations, then we'll get into the rest of the video. So thank you, Amanda Kenny 4997 for the super thanks. Your explanation of how Christopher and Miranda met allegedly, or in theory, before going into Fromville is solid. Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it. I'm going to adopt what Amanda basically has said as to a way that Christopher and Miranda met before going into Fromville, and like how they met, and them coming in the Fromville together. And that's the reason why Victor would choose Christopher's vehicle to put Eloise's drawings in as opposed to his mom Miranda's. Hopefully it enters into the show. If I had someone on speed dial or someone's email address, I would say, look, Amanda Kenny has a really good explanation as to possibly how Christopher and Miranda could have met before Fromville, and why when she came into Fromville, it's more than likely she was with him in his vehicle and they were both theorizing and brainstorming. Christopher had visions, Miranda had visions, they came together, and then now they're in Fromville. It would make a lot of sense. And that also makes sense as to why Victor, let's say he wasn't invisible or story walking when he went and eavesdropped on the boy in white and Christopher, it would make sense that Victor would be by himself going to see Christopher because they already had an established relationship and even trust. Victor being intertwined with Christopher as much as he is, we're talking about young Victor now, for young Victor to be intertwined with Christopher that much as opposed to other adults in town, to me, that means that there had to be a trust between Miranda and Christopher in regards to allowing her children to interact with Christopher. For Victor to use Christopher's trunk as opposed to any other trunk in the town that's there, and for Victor to be going by himself to eavesdrop on Christopher, and even being in the photo, the Polaroid being taken of Christopher and Victor's in the back of it. Here's my theory as to why Victor would be back there. Miranda's taking a picture of Christopher holding the book. Eloise is at Miranda's side. Victor is near Christopher or behind him, and Miranda's like, hey, get out the way. This is for Christopher only. Get out the way. And so Victor just walking in the background. It makes sense that Miranda taking the picture of Christopher, and Miranda and Christopher were friends or friendly. Maybe even because of the visions they both had, they remembered where they came from to a certain extent. And maybe their eyes were opened at a certain point by the Nkui kids. And they remembered, oh yeah, we used to be together. Let's get back together. No, I'm just joking. That's the reason why Victor is in the shot behind Christopher on this Polaroid. Miranda's taking a picture of Christopher. In this picture, you can kind of barely see it. It appears that Christopher is in front of like a green vehicle, or maybe even a bluish green. Maybe it's blue, but it appears to be green from what I'm showing on the screen. So at first I thought this may have been Christopher's vehicle, but of course it's not. It's the red one. And you could say, well, maybe this is Miranda's vehicle, but if it's Miranda's vehicle, and let's say Miranda drove in the town, why wouldn't Victor hide Eloise's drawings in his mother's vehicle? Unless this is just a random vehicle that was in town. Just a random vehicle. Victor didn't hide Eloise's pictures in his mother's trunk or mother's vehicle in this theory, because there is no Miranda vehicle. There's only Christopher's. And like Amanda said, Christopher and Miranda, in theory, met before coming into Fromville, and maybe Miranda and Henry only had one vehicle at the time. And Miranda got in the vehicle with Christopher, and then boom, went into Fromville. Christopher having visions, Miranda having visions before going into Fromville, with Miranda being on the acid trip. Maybe Christopher was taking drugs too, who knows? But both of them having visions of the bottle tree, both of them meeting at the park, having conversations about it, and then it comes out about Fromville. That is a really good way to set up the idea of Christopher and Miranda knowing each other before Fromville, maybe even coming in together. This green vehicle in this picture, I think this is just a random vehicle. Or maybe the art department first used this vehicle, but it's not used in the show. Who knows? But I think it's Miranda taking the picture of Christopher. And that's why we see Victor right here. Like, Victor is like hanging out, eavesdropping on Christopher and Miranda having a conversation, the same way that Julie and Elgin were playing around with the Polaroid. Miranda and Christopher playing around with the Polaroid. Maybe this is when they first arrived in the town, or they hadn't been there that long. Christopher found the book, started seeing the symbol, wrote the symbol in the book, and started going crazy. But he appears to be smiling. This has to be when he first got into town and was making people laugh. And I mean, think about it. Okay, here's a stretch. This is a super duper stretch. Okay, super duper stretch. Miranda and Christopher are hanging around together, taking pictures of each other, smiling because they became involved. So when their eyes were open, I don't know, but it just appears that all Victor has talked about on the show, besides Miranda and Eloise, has been Christopher. You're trapped in Fromville, like Ellis and Fatima, you're trapped there. Everybody who's back home is back home. Also, like Christy and Kenny, Marianne, back home, you start clicking up with people getting booed up. And that's why Victor is only talking about Christopher besides Eloise and Miranda. We've seen pictures of Victor drawing other people, but we don't know when he drew those. I think he drew those after people arrived in town because they're in the peach truck. Who knows? But I think that the reason why Victor was told to hide where Christopher can't find you and no one else, because Christopher, who had a personal relationship with Victor and Miranda, and of course Eloise, went crazy, and Christopher became the biggest threat because he knew the most information about us as a family. Okay, back to the donations. Yes. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also Straight Cheese 2892. I appreciate the continued support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He posted a super thanks, says, your ability to put these theories together is insane. Well, sometimes it's from reading comments in the comment section. Other times it's about me thinking about Fromville all the time. I just constantly think about stuff. I just start putting things together. Sometimes it's really reading the comments from the comment section, and instead of responding in the comment section, I make a video. All right, so thank you both. I appreciate it. Who would have thought that having a small role on a TV show, being there briefly, that it would create so much theories and so much, let's just say, pandemonium centered around one character that we barely see. Only had like one line of dialogue. People have been saying Eloise is alive, story walking. She did this, did that, the drawing. It's amazing how small roles, brief parts have almost created an entire show on their own. That's crazy. That's awesome. That shows you the power from. This is what Nicole was talking about. I left it out the previous video. Glad I did, because now I get a chance to have another video.
My mother said that we were going home the night that the bad things happened.
What did she say, Victor?
I don't remember.
Come on, Victor, please.
I don't remember. Pictures might.
Well, there were pictures were inside the house when it collapsed.
No, not these pictures. I put them somewhere else. Put them away somewhere where I would never have to look at them, so I would never have to remember so that no one else would die.
Do you know where you put them?
This is Christopher's vehicle. And so the question is, why would young Victor hide Eloise's pictures in Christopher's vehicle and not his mother's? And my answer to that is because young Victor was familiar with this vehicle. Young Victor, Miranda, and young Eloise arrived in Christopher's vehicle, and that's why there's so much comfort in hiding them here as opposed to Miranda's vehicle. So in the previous part of the video, I put that I showed that in the Polaroid. Let's just say that that vehicle was Miranda's, hypothetically. Why would young Victor seek out Christopher's vehicle to hide something and not his mother's, if that vehicle in the Polaroid was Miranda's vehicle? So my answer is this, that young Victor felt comfortable hiding something out of all the vehicles in the graveyard, in the junkyard that was created where he moved vehicles. He felt the most comfortable using Christopher's vehicle because that's the one he identified with coming into Fromville and being in Fromville, as in he was hanging around with Christopher more and more while they were trapped in Fromville. To me, that's the reason why Eloise's pictures are in Christopher's vehicle out of every other vehicle in the graveyard, including a potential Miranda vehicle, because this is the vehicle he identified with. If Miranda told Victor to hide where Christopher can't find you, why would young Victor hide Eloise's drawings in Christopher's trunk and not Miranda's, his mom?
Are they in there? Do you want me to look? Victor, I need you to be brave. I am counting on you.
So in looking at the contents of the trunk, everything looks like it is like spare parts for a vehicle. A rim, tire. For Victor to pick here to put Eloise's stuff, I think it's because there was comfort in not just Christopher, but Christopher's vehicle, hypothetically, because this is the vehicle he came into town with. It may be Victor, the same way other people don't want to use the items from people who are deceased, even though Christopher was deceased, but they didn't want to use items from people who are deceased, which is why they have the lost and found at Colony House, the diner, the side of the barn. Maybe Victor didn't want to use other people's stuff either who were deceased. But Christopher's vehicle was different because there was a connection to Christopher. Victor putting Eloise's pictures in the trunk of the vehicle he arrived in does make sense. To me, it makes sense. The drawings were put in the trunk before Fromville, or more than likely put in the trunk after the massacre. That the drawings just simply being in the trunk, it just shows that there was a connection between young Victor and Christopher for Victor to use Christopher's trunk. And we also would take a leap of logic and say that there was a connection between Christopher and Miranda. Maybe Victor thought that Jasper was alive because Christopher was entertaining Victor and Eloise with Jasper being a ventriloquist a lot, to the point where Victor was like thinking that Jasper's alive. So Victor is seeing so many demonstrations of ventriloquism that he thinks that Jasper's alive, further, in my opinion, strengthening the connection. And then if we think that Miranda's the one that took the Polaroid of Christopher, there had to be some type of connection there. Because where are the Polaroids of other people? Maybe there was still optimism during that time of getting back home, and it was like, well, let's just take pictures, act like we're sightseeing. So Christopher is acting like he's sightseeing. Let me pull the picture back up. There's no, oh, well, we're stuck in town. You know, he's happy. He doesn't understand. They're just sightseeing. He's taking pictures in front of stuff, which this being the diner. Happy time. Miranda's taking pictures of him and not with him because there's no one else to hold the camera. Victor's doing his own thing. They're telling him to get out the way. I really think that Christopher and Miranda possibly, and I guess I know it's a yoga stretch, but it's pretty much possible that Christopher and Miranda could have been friends and then became maybe even more than friends once their eyes were opened. But then again, I don't think the eyes could have been opened because Christopher was going crazy trying to solve or trying to figure out the symbol. So I think their eyes were not opened, but they just were stuck in town, seeing things, having visions, and then Christopher went crazy. When did Eloise tell Victor that Miranda was going to the lighthouse the night she went to save the children? I don't think it could have been in the root cellar when Miranda left her children. I think Eloise drew the pictures. Victor saw the one of the lighthouse, asked about it, and then that's when Eloise was like, our mom is going to the lighthouse, save the children. This is where Eloise said our mother was going the night she went to save the children, meaning that Eloise was telling Victor that Miranda was going to the lighthouse, not that she went to the lighthouse. Eloise more than likely told Victor about the lighthouse before that night Miranda went.
You need to protect your sister. Please don't go, Mommy.
These aren't mine. They're not mine.
What?
Oh, what if I just saw something? Hold on. It appears this is like the bottle tree upside down. This is a bunch of people together smiling. This person shooting could have been Boyd shooting at Abby. Maybe this is Boyd inside the well. You can barely see it, but I think all these people smiling may be the original townspeople, and this right here may be one of the teddy bears that they were going to sacrifice. This right here could be the bus. When the bus arrives season 2, these could be all the people on the bus. The Grand Rapids bus that people came in, they're all looking sad. And this could be one of the creatures approaching the bus. Or this could be one of the original townspeople and they used a bus to get teddy bears into town. Yeah, this person right here smiling, this appears to be an adult smiling, similar to the smiles over here. And then we got a bus full of people who are faces that are sad. That might be them bringing teddy bears into the township before the trap was set to sacrifice those teddy bears. Or it could be the bus bringing people into town on the Grand Rapids bus. And then maybe this is one of the creatures smiling because they got some new food. I mean, who knows? What do you all think? When did Eloise tell Victor Miranda was going to the lighthouse the night she went to save the children? Eloise probably told him after she drew the lighthouse, well before that night. And based off those pictures and based me just guessing, Eloise may have seen the entire series and drew pictures of what she saw. If the writers are smart, and that's the case, they need to have Eloise alive for season 4 and season 5 to explain some stuff. It would be awesome if an adult Eloise does an exposition dump and explains everything. Once in town, vehicles are useless, and Victor moved the vehicle. So Victor would know where Miranda's vehicle is if it were in town. Henry never said how Miranda was going to the park the night she and the children disappeared. May have been meeting Christopher, like Amanda Kenny has said. I'm really leaning towards, and I know we may not get an answer, but I'm really leaning towards Victor arrived in Christopher's car. Miranda was the one taking the picture of Christopher. So what do you think? Let me know in the comment section your thoughts. Thumbs up the video, share to your social media, subscribe, click the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Go forth, do great things, and I'm out. Peace.
Just breathe. Close your eyes. Let's pray. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.